Welcome to the Instagram Stories for Monday, October 6th. I'm your host, Daniel Hill. We're going to get into the questions and answers from the head of Instagram, but before we do, Instagram announced Rings, an award from Instagram that's all about celebrating those who aren't afraid to take creative chances and do it their way. Interestingly, the Rings Award has a list of celebrity judges. I assume they're celebrity judges because I don't know who most of the people are. However, I did recognize some names on the list, including Spike Lee, Marquise Brownlee, who I know from YouTube, and also Adam Mosseri. There are some other names on there that look familiar, but I'm not sure who those people are. But still, this is Instagram's effort to award creativity that they see on the platform. I understand where they're going with that. I think that they should be paying money instead of giving awards, but that's just my opinion. Today on the show, we're going to dive into questions from the head of Instagram like, is follower count going away? Are stories going away? Is there going to be a way to schedule stories? Will you be bringing filters to the Edits app? And a lot more. First, here's a quick word from our sponsor. Welcome back. Let's get into the questions from the head of Instagram, and we're going to start with all the story-related questions. Just as a reminder, I'm not a huge fan of stories. I loved them in 2016, 2017, 2018. I would create most of my content for stories and then look to see who watched my stories. But these days, there are so many other ways to create content on Instagram, and stories are most likely to be seen by people who already follow you. They're not necessarily going to help you to get new followers. Let's get into the stories questions. The first one, are stories going away? I wouldn't think so. Stories are a crucial part of Instagram, although they are overshadowed by Reels, DMs, and many other ways to communicate on the platform.
Absolutely not. I don't know where this meme started, but stories are not going away. They are an incredibly important part of Instagram. People share the stories way more than they share the feed. It's an amazing way to keep up to date with what your friends are doing, what's going on in the creators you love's lives. So no, they're not going away.
I want to mention something quickly about stories. If you follow certain artists, whether they're music performers or other people that you like, and you know that they're going to be releasing a new album, for instance, or doing some other kind of work, I think it is really imperative to add those people as favorites and ensure that you watch their stories regularly. I say this because an artist that I really like released an album, I want to say about 6 weeks ago, and he did a promo event in New York City, and I didn't know about it, and I was heated. I would have really liked to have gone. I'm sure I might not have been able to get in or would have been late if I had known about it. But the point is, if you really want to stay on top of things, stories are used as a promotional tool by artists and other people to reward their biggest fans. And I do think it's important to keep that in mind if you are someone who likes that kind of thing, which I certainly do. I like to be in the know. Let's go on to another stories question. Schedule stories? I'm going to let Adam explain, and then I'm going to tell you how you can, in fact, schedule stories.
No plans to build scheduled stories right now. I get that it might be helpful for some of you, but we want stories just to be a more authentic way to share things in the moment. And if you're planning them in advance, it's sort of at odds with the whole point of stories. That doesn't mean we'll never do it, but right now it's not a priority.
Okay, when Adam gives this answer, I believe that he is solely talking about scheduling stories within the Instagram app. However, if you use Meta Business Suite, which you can get to by going to business.facebook.com, you can schedule stories there. You can upload any kind of graphic or video that you want to have as part of a story. You can schedule it in advance. You could schedule multiple stories in advance. It's a free tool. If you have a creator or a business account, business.facebook.com, Meta Creator Suite, you can schedule stories for free anytime, anywhere, no problem. Okay, now let's move on to all the algorithm and reach questions. The first one, can I delete my reel and repost without the algorithm being mad? This is a really good question because I personally have posted videos, and as soon as I posted it, I realized I made a mistake in the video or I could make it better. So you might be tempted to delete your video and repost it, but then you think, well, it's already been seen by some people. This is a very similar video. What's the algorithm going to do? This is a good question.
Yes, no one's going to get mad. I don't know that I would do that though, because it doesn't seem like it's going to be a very sustainable practice. One thing we do not encourage you to do is to keep uploading the exact same reel via trials. That's like a way to try to hack the system, and if we identify that, we will not distribute it. But if there's a good reason to delete something and post it again, you can. I just don't think it's really the best practice.
You know what would be helpful in that scenario is if Instagram let you edit it by uploading another video. If it was a slightly altered video, maybe without the typo that you made or something, just an idea, Okay, let's do our next reach question. Do carousels still matter for reach? The answer, of course, is yes. But in this, Adam Mosseri explains exactly how using a carousel will give you multiple opportunities at someone's feed. They will show your carousel multiple times to people. Here's the clip.
Definitely. One of the benefits of carousels is they get a second chance often, where if someone saw that carousel on their feed and they didn't swipe, we might actually show that carousel again, automatically moved to the second position. I actually often find that carousels, for me, do better than my reels, but that's not true for everybody.
Okay, let's move on to the last reach question. It seems like photo posts don't reach as many people as they used to. Has the algorithm changed? Well, I would say the algorithm's changed as much as you are competing for attention with many other things going on, not only in the Instagram app, but just in general on the person's phone. They may be spending time watching Netflix or watching TikTok or on Snapchat and just spending less time on Instagram than they used to. Or they might be spending more time with ads or DMs or reels or broadcast channels or all of the other things that you can do on the Instagram app and giving less time and attention to feed posts. Here's Adam's answer to the question about if photo posts are getting less reach because the algorithm changed.
There hasn't been a major change recently. In general, though, we're always trying to improve ranking, and we do see that on average, videos are more engaging than photos, which is why they've been growing as a percentage of time spent on Instagram and a percentage of things that people see on Instagram. But we do still see a lot of people have luck with photos and with carousels. For some people, it's just a better way to tell their story. So I don't think there's an answer that is to the question, should I post photos or videos, that is ubiquitous. You should figure out what is the most effective way to achieve the goals that you're trying to achieve, which are both about reach, yes, but also some sort of goal you have for using Instagram in the first place.
Okay, we are going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about whether or not you can still scale on Instagram organically, or if you have to use ads in order to reach audiences. We'll also talk about the Edits app, some updates, and whether or not follower count is going away on the platform. Stick around. Welcome back. We're continuing with the questions and answers from the head of Instagram, and the next one has to do with how Instagram wants you to grow in order to reach followers. If it's still possible to do organically, or if you have to buy ads. The question, can we scale engagement organically, or do you want us to use ads? Instagram wants you to pay for ads. Don't pretend otherwise.
You can absolutely scale your reach organically. We are more than happy to work with advertisers to show ads against the attention that comes from organic content on Instagram. People often think that we want to suppress people's reach in order to get them to buy ads. But if you're creating content that people want to see, then we have a business interest in showing those people that content, because then they'll use Instagram more, you'll be happier, they'll be happier, and then we can easily find advertisers to buy ads against that time and attention.
Okay, let's move on to a question about the Instagram app redesign. If you missed it, last week on the show, I talked about how Instagram is testing in India a experience where when you open the app, you immediately go to the Reels feed. You see stories at the top for a moment, but as you scroll down, you're in the Reels feed, much like the way TikTok is when you open the app and you see the For You page. Here's Adam's answer to the question, are you going to test the redesign in other places?
So this question is about the new version of Instagram that we're testing only in India right now, which allows people just to opt in. So it's an option, you don't have to do it, to a Reels first version of Instagram, where you open up Instagram, you've got stories at the top and you can swipe straight into Reels. If it does well, if people seem to like it, they use Instagram more, they say good things about it, we will look into if we want to expand the test to other countries. But for now, just an exploratory option for some people in India.
Okay, let's go on to another question. Is follower count going away? I actually think that would make Instagram a completely different experience if follower count was no longer visible, just not being a factor at all. I think that would make it a lot more fun, but that's not something Instagram is going to be doing anytime soon, according to Adam. Here's his answer.
No, follower counts are not going away. Followers still matter, contrary to popular belief or some memes you might be hearing out there. We want you to be able to build up an audience on Instagram and reach that audience. People are always a little frustrated when they realize that they can't reach most of their audience, but that is normal. If you have 100 people following you, maybe 50 of them didn't use Instagram that day, and some of them don't use Instagram at all anymore, and some of them only use Instagram to DM or didn't scroll deep enough. And so it's very normal to only reach 5 or 10% of the number of people who actually follow you. That happens to me all the time. But we do want you to be able to at least reach that most passionate following on a regular basis and to grow that base over time. So follower counts are still around and following still matters.
Let's move on to a question about trial reels. Are trial reels being penalized currently? You know, when I first read this question, I thought, why would someone think that trial reels are being penalized? But the more I thought about it, the more I have personally experienced where trial reels just don't perform very well, and it feels like you might be penalized for some reason. I understand this question now, the more I think about it. Here's Adam's answer.
We do not penalize trial reels. The whole point of them is that they're a way to experiment and see what might work and what might not work. They don't go to your followers. That's sort of the point of them, but we do not penalize them otherwise. If you do keep posting the same reel over and over as a trial, sorry, I'm a little tired, then yes, that will not get a lot of distribution because that's just a hack. It's not something that you're supposed to just use to get many shots of distribution with the exact same video.
The last two questions we're going to talk about have to do with the Edits app. The first one, why aren't templates in the Edits app? That's actually a good question. Templates are in Instagram, but not in the Edits app, and it would probably be helpful if they were.
If we end up doing templates in the Edits app, we'll want to figure out our own spin on the idea. There's a bunch of different templates out there and a bunch of different apps, not just CapCut for video editing, but we've seen lots of templates on Facebook over the years and other social media apps. So we'd want to figure out a way that we could create templates that would inspire creativity, but not overly commoditize it. I don't think we'd want to get a bunch of very similar videos out from a bunch of different people. I think we'd want to make sure that it was a system that incentivized creativity, that really allowed people with interesting ideas to riff on core concepts in new ways. So we'll explore it, and if we come up with something we're proud of, we will ship it.
And the last question we're going to talk about today, also on the topic of edits, filters in edits, please. I understand that the Edits app doesn't have filters, but you could just add a filter when you post it to Instagram. So I'm not sure why this is such a key thing to have. Are people really using filters that much in 2025? What do I know?
There are already a lot of different effects in edits, but I think what you're asking about is the more traditional filters, so we can take a look at that. But keep an eye out. We've got some fun things coming out over the next couple of months in terms of effects that you can use edits to create with your reels.
Looking forward to seeing what those updates are. That is going to do it for today's episode. It was a bit longer than normal. Adam answered some good questions, so I wanted to make sure that I covered all of them on the show. If you like what I'm doing and you appreciate this content, please take a moment to leave a review. The best place to do that is on Apple Podcasts, and the link to do that is in the show notes. You can get there directly. If you can't find the link for some reason, or you're listening on a different device, send me a message at Daniel Hill Media, and I will make sure that you get the link so that you can leave a review on Apple Podcasts. It doesn't cost you anything, but I really appreciate it. That is it for today's episode. Be sure to come back next time for more social media news, strategy, and other things that you need to know about.
Let's get it. The year was 2013. You posted your first pic and you're glad your post got seen. Your friends liked it too, but what you didn't know is what posting on that platform would do. Taking all your time and attention, doom scrolling. Also, let me mention, you gotta post on every platform, putting content on every set just to conform. Likes gave you validation and you got hooked. Now engagement is down, you feeling overlooked. Hey, keep coming back for more podcasts. And find me on Instagram at Daniel Hill Media. I'm gone.